This is the DLR Cast, the essential podcast for fans of Diamond David Lee Roth. All right, folks, heard you missed us. We are back. This is the DLR Cast, the only podcast by and for fans of the mighty Diamond David Lee Roth. As always, I'm Steve, no relation to David Lee Roth that I know of, along with my good friends in all things, Dave Van Halen and the kayfabe, Darren Paltrowitz. Darren, how are you, my friend? It's been a little while, but we're back.
Yeah. Nice to hear kayfabe making its way into the introduction. I appreciate that you keep it new, you keep it fresh. Is this a good night for you, Steve? Pulling back the current that we're taping at night.
Yeah, it's a good night. It's been a while, and of course, the last show we did, we were talking all sorts of previews and figuring what we would see prior to the July 22nd kickoff in Paso Robles of Dave's first tour in a very long time. And we've got a few dates under our belt now. I've got some thoughts on. I've watched a lot of different things on YouTube. I noticed a few different things. I noticed at least the first night they switched out one song from M3 and did, I think it was Pretty Woman. And they're doing I'll Wait. And I thought the band was hot. I think Dave is just passable. Okay. It's not terrible. I think the band sounds amazing. The backup singers are there. One thing I noticed musically, I mean, they're not strictly playing, they're going for it. There's some aggressiveness to the tunes. Al is amazing. There's some bass runs there. I mean, it's not just a straight up tribute cover band. Those guys are dead on tight. And there's some, if you listen carefully, there's some things going on musically in some songs that previously had not been. They're giving some personality to it is what I'm trying to say. What are your thoughts?
There's a couple of changes from M3. The first is there's a fifth backup singer.
Yes, I saw that. Yes.
Which you asked me, you said, Darren, what are the odds that it's going to be the same exact lineup? And I said, oh, Steve, it'll be the same lineup. Like, nope, he added somebody. It is not the same lineup that played at M3. And one of the backup singers also plays keyboards, which I think he played on Jump at M3, if I remember, like the intro.
Okay.
I'm sorry, the outro, he came on there, but now he's playing on additional songs as well.
Okay, so hold on. That's what I was going to bring up. So stage left, house right, up behind Al, there is a keyboardist there I've seen all the time. He's not also singing.
Danny Wigner. I'm sorry. Why did I get Danny Wagner's name wrong? I've said it 1,000 times. I've never called him Wigner. Danny Wagner, formerly of Warrant, multi-instrumentalist, great player, etc. He sings backups, and then there's a second keyboard where one of the backup singers pops up. And at M3, I think he was just on for Jump, and now he's playing, I think, also on Dance the Night Away. Like, that's another change that's kind of happened. And then another change that's happening is I think there's 4 songs in the set that they added on, not to be a big spoiler, but they added on extended outros, jams.
Yes, which I totally dig. I totally dig. I thought it just sounded killer.
I could say which songs those are, or I could just leave it to the imagination. But I know which songs they are from speaking with somebody, but they are on YouTube. Yeah,
no, go ahead. Bring it up.
So it's Dance the Night Away, Unchained, Drop Dead Legs, and Everybody Wants Some, that they worked on new instrumental parts and also parts for Dave to do his vocal vamping on. And so far, it sounds like he's had new stage raps every time. He's not repeating.
Yeah, and I props to him, because you just never know what kind of headspace he is in as far as current events. But he gave a little tribute to Ozzy, of course. That first, what was it? The first night, right? And was it the first night? Yeah, and which you mentioned Ozzy a couple of times. Mentioned the passing of the great Ozzy Osbourne, of course. And I mean, going back to the instrumental parts. I mean, like I said, I thought Drop Dead Legs in particular was a highlight for me because I just love that song. But yeah, musically, there's some different things going on there, and I applaud it. I think it's great. And just a reminder, it's Al Estrada on guitar, Ryan Wheeler on bass, drummer Francis Valentino, correct?
Yes.
And now, one other thing too, did he announce the names of the band or the backup singers? Because I watched a lot of videos. I don't know if he did or not.
I haven't seen that in there. I've seen some social media posts for Ryan Wheeler where he's added all the people, the add Instagram, so people know who's in the group. The
But
that's
from the
been
stage,
done.
Dave hasn't announced anything.
No, I haven't seen that since
Drives me nuts.
that Vegas stuff and Dave's social media. Weirdly, I believe he's deleted a thing or two. I think the most recent post is June 6th. So it's not like the team goes, "Hey, another great gig. Let's share some photos." Nope.
No, it has been the social media, and we've talked about this so many times. When they're on a run, they're doing great things, but I'm
Yeah.
losing track now. I mean, we're close to a year that the social media has kind of just been kind of shit the bed. There's been hardly anything going on there. Certainly, there's been
Yeah.
virtually very, very little tour promotion. Hello.
Yes, yes, yeah. I want to come back to that in a big way. But we had one comment or a couple episodes that went, "You guys are so negative to think that Dave's not going to be trying after the first gig." And that, Steve, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a band that is on fire. Dave's in excellent shape. But let's say you are somebody who loves Van Halen, you love Dave's stuff, you always found Dave really amusing, but you're not like one of us where you're keeping up on all the latest and the greatest, and you're not watching bootlegs online, and
Right.
you don't know who Joe Holmes is. You're not those one of
Right.
those kinds of fans. So if the first time that you saw anything from Dave was one of these performances at the State Fair or the Hard Rock in Hollywood, I think you would be horrified. And I mention that because there's a guy who's a Florida podcaster who has a big following. He's one of those Crowder guys and all that. And he posted a thing overnight on X that said something like, "I could talk about this show for hours." And it had 4 videos, and these were not the highlights of the show. These were the lowlights of the show. I just have to think, what do the people out of context who don't follow Dave think about these recordings?
Yeah. I mean, we are definitely in that. That's a really good question. I mean, to be fair, I, to be completely objective, and it's hard for me to be sometimes. I think you're right. I mean, if you're not in there all the time, like we are talking all the time about Dave and seeing all this stuff, I don't think you're probably not going to be too impressed, are you?
No, you're going to hear a song like Dance the Night Away where the band is on fire and the backing singers are amazing and he's just doing his whooping kind of stuff. And you would be horrified, go, "That guy's insane." Out of context. If
That guy's
and
insane.
Yeah, so if where my mind is at is if he were doing media and his team were doing social media promotion, all that, they could have attacked this in a good offensive defensive kind of thing. They could have set expectations for the whole thing. They could have shown you what you're going to get. If he had done social media went where he basically, let's say he wasn't on camera, but he was talking and he went, "I got the hottest band in the land. I have the best backing singers. Come check them out." In
Okay,
other words,
hold.
if he trumped up the band and sold the band as being the best tribute to Van Halen on the planet and said, "And I'm only doing your favorites on the Van Halen catalog as a tribute to my, deceased best friend from back in the day." If he did that and he set the expectations on, "This is what I'm playing, this is who's on stage, and man, they're great," then I don't think that 90% of the hate would be there.
Well, okay, how much of the hate is on there? I mean, are you seeing a lot? Because like I know
Yes.
some of the because at least some of the videos like I've seen and I'm reading the comments. Like for instance, one of the first things I saw was this really cool site called Marshall of Rock, and they put up a video. The first 2 songs, Panama, Drop Dead Legs, 17,000 plus views since the 23rd. It was up there. Most of the comments are all pretty positive, solid. He's got a swagger back. Hey, he's 70 years old. He's sounding good. Left me with a big smile. One guy in particular, this one said, "The revelation here is guitarist Al Estrada. Dare I say this guy captures the sound and spirit of EVH better than anyone on the planet right now." I mean, overall, I mean, this is just one video, of course, and I mean,
That's one video.
I've watched bits and pieces. I mean, tell me that is that the overall vibe right now?
VH Links is like a Van Halen cemetery
Yeah,
right now.
I haven't gone over there. I haven't checked those other message boards. Color me living in a bubble, but I want to try to keep a little positivity here because Well, I'm trying to. I don't want to be Mr. Negative. I'm glad he's still out there. We've said this before, and it seems like he's trying. Listen, there's only so much the guy can do right now. I, I don't know what's with the buffoon-like grinning. It drives me up the wall all the time, But
That's Exhibit A, and Exhibit B's where's the vocal melody line? He's like skating around the octaves. He's doing that thing that drives me up the wall, where I know he's capable of singing the melody, but his ADHD leads to all the whoops and the yows and all that kind of stuff instead of the words. So that's the negative stuff. I mean, I could give you really, really, really positive stuff that's happened since our last episode related to Dave and Van Halen, but this is what's in the headlines. Dave's back on tour. We've seen 2 gigs so far. I know I'm going to 3 of them unless I'm on the banned list for this podcast.
don't let him in. But I paid for the tickets. Don't let him in.
Yeah. Again, I can give really, really positive, interesting things, but
I don't think overall the singing has been that bad. I mean, it's not.
Okay, let's compromise. I'm going to rudely interrupt you.
Yeah.
Some songs, he's good.
Yes.
And some songs, it's just whoop, yow.
Yeah. I'll give you that. Yeah.
And Panama, he starts off really strong with Panama. And then I guess maybe there's certain songs where there's breath control problems or it's just higher vocals. So he skates around it. So drop those from the set list. Like he didn't play.
Have the set list been the same each night? It's been Panama, Drop Dead Legs, pretty much all the same, right? I mean, I looked at a couple. I didn't compare every single one, but I saw a couple. I was like, oh yeah, that looks the same.
I believe it's the same, and the sections where they extend the song is the same, and the vamping is the same. I think the wardrobe may have changed for some of the people on the stage, but I think they rehearsed that show to be the show. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, so which it's interesting because knowing that we know that they've done, that they've got 40 or 50 songs in the repertoire, supposedly, right?
That's what I was told, but
if there's no switching out, that's a bit disappointing, man. Right?
Well, that happened in January 2020. I'm sorry, no. January 2020 with the Vegas show when he was saying, "Oh, there's 3 guitar players and 2 keyboardists, and we've learned all these songs." And the background scrolling image in the ad mat, it was an animated thing. In the background had Yankee Rose and Hot for Teacher and all that. And those are not songs he did in 2020 or rehearsed for 2021.
And everybody should know, of course, that so far at least this has been an all Van Halen set list, no solo stuff, of which colored me disappointed there, but I expected that.
They knew for the 2020 shows, they knew Just a Gigolo, and they had tracks and prep related to that. I don't think it would be a bummer if he did Just a Gigolo. Not that I ever need to hear that song again in my life because I've heard it thousands of times, but I think that there's a certain percentage of the audience that would want the obvious stuff like that. And I think the Dave audience, and tell me if I'm wrong here, the Dave audience is very, very specialized, where if you're at a Van Halen show, they primarily want the hits. Aside from the 5% of shred guitarists in the audience, they want the hits. The audience wants the familiar stuff. But for Dave solo, you can go specialized. That it might be more than 50% of the audience would love Eat 'Em and Smile start to finish.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's songs that, like with so many legacy and classic bands, that you just absolutely have to play, right? I mean, he's got to do Panama. He's got to do You Really Got Me. Probably Running with the Devil. I wouldn't mind if that one went away. Jump, of course. Everybody wants some. Ain't Talking About Love. Throwing Jamie's Crying. The rest from there, you add some different things in there, right? I mean, I'll Wait, he's performing for the first time as a solo act. I'm thrilled that Drop Dead Legs in there. Mean Street, I'm a little surprised. I'm a little surprised that Atomic Punk is in there. Never been really one of my biggest favorite songs. I don't think he sounds good on it in particular in that one. I'm thrilled that Romeo Delight is in there because I've always loved that one. But here's the other thing too. It's 17 songs, no encore. That's like just barely a headline set, man. Right? In this day and age.
I'll agree with that. I've been
So
going to my fair share of summer tours this summer, and Dave is playing a shorter headline set, especially when there's no opener. There was an opener at
right,
Mid-State Fair in California, G Love, but that wasn't the tour.
right.
That was just the venue.
Yeah, and ain't no openers in casinos. So
Generally not. I remember seeing Dave in the early 2000s. He would just have some local person or Eric Sardinas or something like that
right.
open for him. He's never since after the 91 tour, I don't think he's been a specific opening act kind of guy. It was just always locals or whoever management said so.
Right.
I'm not saying, hey, I want him to play 20 more minutes. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying with the song choices, it's a specialized audience. In
Yeah.
writing DLR book, I learned that most Van Halen fans are not Dave solo fans. It's a very specialized thing, and you wouldn't think that.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, that's the reason why this podcast started in the first place, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we are that core audience for that. But when you're doing these shows, listen, for 17 songs, you can't throw in even just a gigolo for goodness sakes. I mean, that's what still kills me when you open for Kiss. That Big Train made the set list. My God, man, throw in just one rarity like that. Get a little tiny little piece of bait for us. You know what I mean?
Even just like Paradise. Okay, one of my favorite songs ever. I don't actually ever need to hear it ever again because I've heard it that many times. I've subjected bar jukeboxes to it many, many, many times. But I'm surprised that just like Paradise wouldn't make the cut and Romeo Delight would, or Atomic Punk would.
Yeah.
Because as you pointed out, Atomic Punk, not one of the songs he sounds better singing on to begin with. And he
Yeah.
could arguably talk his way through just like Paradise, which the band does know how to play.
Hmm. Right.
So, those are the disappointments. Again, some Dave is better than no Dave, etc. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe I was just pessimistic, but I'm disappointed by the social media presence, the lack of media. It shows such a lack of awareness. So, did you see the photos of how empty the tour opener was?
Yeah. Oh man, that bums me out.
It was like 1,500 people max in a 15,000 hall. And you go like, why did that happen? Well, the stuff we just mentioned, plus you played a place in the middle of nowhere. And it was a premium ticket on top of entry into the state fair. So on what planet do you go, oh yeah, you know who's bringing 15,000 people tonight? Diamond Dave in 2025. No. So there's other shows on the tour, like the Huntington gig at the Paramount here on Long Island, where it's like a 2,000-ish capacity room and tickets immediately kind of went clean
Hmm.
because Dave can bring 2,000, 2,500. That's around the sweet spot for Dave.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I had another video pulled up right before we got on, and there's a couple of videos just going up for the show in Hollywood, Florida the other night. Dance the Night Away is here. I haven't listened to it yet. I had a couple tabs open just
Yeah.
real quick, and I was running a little bit late. I apologize. But right, yeah, you're right, man. Really wish Dave could actually sing this song anymore because the band is top notch. Someone hit the gong, please. He's not doing his legacy any favors. He hasn't been able to sing this song, this Dance the Night Away.
Yeah.
Haven't been able to sing this song for 15 years. It's inexplicable. He keeps playing it. Boy, I can't
It,
figure out why Dave keeps trying to sing those crazy high notes. He should keep it low. It's just all over the map. Yeah.
it's
Ugh.
a yow fest. The yow. It's one of those. And
And some
maybe
guy
it's
posted here, David is fine. He should just drop his voice lower. He can still sing really well in the lower register of his voice. I bet the audience had a great time. Flame on, DLR, we love you. And somebody said, certainly a good idea. It is a mistake due a guy his age to try to keep songs in the original key. So, yeah.
Do you remember the videos? I don't remember if this is 2019 or 2020, but the final Whitesnake tour that just got canceled in the middle.
Yeah, because he got
Yeah.
sick and his voice was, yeah.
But what Coverdale was doing was basically going, hey, I can't really sing due to vocal issues, but I can be a cheerleader. And so as you know, he's doing like fake conductor like poses, and the band has the whole thing down and just adds little bits, and he's singing kind of in unison. I think if Dave were singing in unison at the same time as the background singers, it wouldn't look bad and it wouldn't sound bad. But the way that he's trying to do, you know how R&B artists usually on the outro they do the vocal improv on top of the melody, and the Christina Aguilera window washing, the I'm doing the window washing thing that
Yeah,
Butch Walker
yeah,
makes fun of. They do that. They they do that thing, and it doesn't sound good. But if he just sang in unison, it'd be fine, absolutely fine.
yeah.
Coverdale was right. That's just what I'm saying. But um, that's my disappointment. I have a couple of shows coming up. We'll see. But I mean, I can give you positive things if there's not more to add.
I don't think so, man. Yeah. I
Okay,
mean,
let's
I'm
go positive.
trying, brother. I'm trying.
Positive stuff. Okay, one of our best listeners, Brian Jordan, he is an encyclopedia for great Van Halen and David Lee Roth content. So he put together a set list of the California John 5, or rather a track
Yes,
listing for that,
you sent
which is
that to me.
great. We'll put that in the show notes. But he unearthed something I never saw before. This UK interview that Dave did in 2004 for TV. The YouTube channel is a channel called Scottish TV, Teevee. And Dave does a studio interview to hype up a gig or two in England. But they say that, will you perform tonight? Of course I would. And Dave does a solo acoustic Ice Cream Man. Have you ever seen Dave perform solo ever?
No, no, you sent me that. Yeah, man, that's a rarity to say the least, right?
And it's good. I mean, he's kind of talking through it, sitting down with the acoustic
But
guitar.
it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Uh, I'm where I'm going with that is he could, if he really wanted to, do a one-man show that's seated with an acoustic guitar singing in a lower register. He could do that.
He could. He
The
could.
one-man talking show, the one-man guitar show, he really could. But besides what Brian sent me, what's been popping up a lot lately is people posting Van Halen late 70s, early 80s soundboards on YouTube that have never been heard. Are these popping up on your algorithm or just mine?
Maybe just yours. Surprisingly, because I'll get like a flood of Van Halen stuff, but that hasn't happened. But you sent me a screenshot a couple days ago, and Music Media Archives premiere. I mean, Knoxville Coliseum, Knoxville, Tennessee, was that one of them? I
That's one
mean,
of them. There's Fort Wayne, Indiana. There's Louisville, Kentucky. And these are diver down shows that, it's not 100% audio perfection, but some of them are damn near close.
it's amazing how all of a sudden there'll just be a flood of stuff out of nowhere. It's like, where have you been for the last couple decades, right? Since
Yeah.
since the birth of YouTube.
So those have popped up. And then I saw in the last week a 1999, I believe, MCI Arena show that Dave did with his band. I think it is on the Bad Company summer run that they did. So I think it's June 1999. So around the era of that Finland show that I always bring up as much as possible, the
Right,
MTV4
right,
concert.
right.
But it's this same era, so it's Bart Walsh and a very strange wig, and and Ray Luzier, and on bass James Lem. No, it's not James Lemenzo. It's Todd Jensen. It's a
Right.
solid, tight band. The only embarrassing thing is Dave. He's like wearing pajamas. They look like Christmas pajamas. I don't know. It's not a December show. If it was a December show, Christmas pajamas, totally fine. But I don't know why he's wearing Christmas looking pajamas at a shed show or an arena show.
Yeah.
Can you come up with anything? Did
I
he lose a bet?
I Mercurial Dave, what can I tell you? I just, right? I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
so he sounds really good. The audio and video initially is a little muffled, a little wobbly, but then into it, the person basically has their camera's spotlight on Dave. Great documentation. He sounded great in this era, in this 99 era. He's not yow. Okay, he's yowing, but he's also singing the choruses.
Hmm. Okay.
So you got that from 99. That Sweden 1991 show. It looks like an improved video quality has popped up on YouTube and a new poster in the last couple weeks. That's out there. And again, these 1978 and 1982 audio only soundboards are popping up. And Van Halen's not doing any of this.
No, no.
Dave's not doing any of this. It's the fans.
Yeah. So let's get back to the tour if you don't mind, because I was uh so today's Friday, August 1st, August 30th in Tampa, Florida, the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. I won't run through all the dates, but next week, Bristol, Virginia, August 8th, that's the 6th, August 8th, Atlantic City, New Jersey, August 10th, the Paramount in Huntington, New York. And as I look through these dates, of course, you know, this is through the end of August, doing some state fairs, a couple clubs, and another couple Hard Rocks, casinos, Vegas, Temecula, more California dates, Mountain Winery, ending up in Napa, California at the Blue Note Napa Summer Sessions at Meritage Resort, September 14th. We had talked about before that this could go on. The band's like, they've been told to leave, to be ready. You might need to go for a year. Where could this go? There, since we've been speculating and talking, there have been no other legs announced. This does not seem to be a legacy building or real big ticket selling tour.
No.
What happens after September 14th?
I wouldn't be surprised.
If you were to predict.
I wouldn't be surprised if stuff was already booked. The way that these dates are going, it's kind of like a gig every night or a gig every, I'm sorry, it's a gig every other night or every two
nights. Yeah, just about. Yeah. So you got, so you've got the 3rd, the 6th, the 8th, the 10th, 13th, 15th. Yeah. So, factor in some travel time in there. We know they're on buses.
Yeah.
It's 2 days.
If I were to predict, and this is not based on me asking anyone, I predict that there are more dates, but it's going to go down to weekend warrior mode where they're going to look at the attendance and they're going to go like, why are we doing gigs on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays? These are generally dead days. We see the attendance has dropped off. I predict that the way that in '03, the way that he did it, where it was a full-on tour, and then it kind of became, okay, Rib Fest on Friday night and State Fair Saturday. And
Lions, right?
Yeah, I think that financially it makes better sense to do 2 big gigs, the fly in, the fly out kind of deals where the hotels and catering and all that is provided for the band and the equipment is provided rather than putting Dave on the road and having him go stir crazy.
Well, and renting buses ain't cheap.
No,
fuel isn't getting any cheaper. I mean, food and all that stuff. I mean, there's a hospitality at every show. There's a rider. I get that. But the rest of the time, those guys are traveling. What are they doing on the day off? The band's got to get a per diem.
Yeah, if you're playing a place like Mohegan Sun, I learned this from one time when I went with a band that rather than honoring your catering rider, they just give you this back of house pass. So you're eating, unless you're an A-list person, you're eating with the casino employees back of house. I thought you were going to
say they give you a bucket of chips and
it's the buffet that they eat at, and you can eat it at 24/7. If you go in at 3 a.m, it's all the overnight staff people on their breaks. So there's no money leaving the artist's pocket unless they give unconditional per diems. But a Mohegan Sun will have the backline or be able to provide the backline. They'll give you all the catering. They'll put the band up. If they're feeling generous, they'll give the band spa and fitness center and all that kind of stuff. So you have to figure somebody like Dave goes, okay, so I save this many $1,000s a night just doing casinos because they're going to pick up the tab. Why would I play Irving Plaza or the Beacon Theater when I could just put all the money in my pocket and not worry about it. Because he on tour, some fans, some people in the WDH, I'm sorry, the WDFA group, some people posted photos of Dave at check-in. They've spotted him. I don't think he goes out that much when he's on tour.
There used to be a time he was always biking and roller skating and all that stuff, but I think he's kind of a hermit now.
Yeah, he stays, what I've heard is he stays at a different hotel than the band and the crew,
Yeah,
usually.
you've mentioned that before.
And I I don't think that Diamond Dave goes down and plays the quarter slots or the dollar slots or anything like that. And a lot of these casinos are just so cut off from society that unless they're on a beach or something like that, there's really nothing to do if you don't gamble and you don't want to be publicly seen. So I think that at a certain point he's going to tell his team, I'm tired of being in hotels. And he's going to treat it like a day job, aka the Friday and Saturday fly-ins. That is my prediction. Tell me I'm wrong. That's fine.
No, I mean, I that probably sounds about right. I mean, listen, the only person who's not losing money on this, really, I mean, who knows about the band? I would guess maybe Ryan Wheeler could be making more money doing something else, but he's probably being paid very handsomely. And Dave gets the guarantee. But I would bet you there's, I mean, the costs are not cheap going out on the road on there. I mean, you're bringing around a bigger band
Yeah.
with backup singers and keyboardists and the whole bit. And you've got sound guys, roadies. I mean, yeah, the fly-in stuff is easier, right? More efficient, less money. But yeah, it would not surprise me if the 3 month stretch of dates, day on, day off, the weeknight dates go away.
So
I
I foresee that. And then to add, I predict there will be a London kind of, 2 or 3 show thing. Again, no one told me this. This is me basing on patterns. I think that
I
there'll
hope
be,
so. I really hope he keeps going. I mean, these the response so far that we're seeing, at least from the people who are from, the one thing is, I'll tell you, I do try to take a bit of a grain of salt, even after all these years of taking the flood of internet comments seriously. I mean, unless if you're physically there, but it seems to be pretty overwhelming. So maybe that grain of salt is now a boulder, Steve.
so London I see happening, Tokyo I see happening because these are places that Dave liked performing, places that he hasn't served in a long time. Those Van Halen reunion tours did not go to Europe, if I remember correctly.
No, no. What, Australia, Japan?
They went to Australia on the last run, and that's one of the videos that leaked to YouTube,
Right.
2015. Uh, Van Halen wasn't that big in Australia. Jump was big, but Van Halen wasn't this 15 hit
Was
band in
Australia
Australia.
part of a festival? Because remember there was the press conference, and I think Aerosmith was there,
Yes, Billy
and
Joel.
yeah, yeah, that's right.
I think it was called the Soundwave Festival. And
Yes.
Dave played Australia on the Skyscraper tour in '88. But I don't think he did Australia with Van Halen. Eden and Smile Tour is pretty much just US and Canada. I don't think he went to Australia or even I don't think he went to Japan on the A Little Ain't Enough tour. I thought that was Europe and then North America and then done because it wasn't so great.
Didn't sell, yeah.
Your filthy little mouth. I know he went to Japan. We talked a little bit with Ron Wixel about that. Europe, US, Canada. I don't think he did South America or Australia on that. The DLR
It,
band album, again, didn't go to Australia, no South America. Some random European festivals, some spotty US and Canada.
it's funny because, and kind of odd when you look at the bands, those quote unquote legacy acts. Mr. Big immediately comes to mind. I think we've brought this up before. A
Yeah,
lot of those bands make a lot of money in the Far East and in
yeah.
South America, right? Two places where Dave just goes on vacation. He could have been cementing, making some pretty great bucks all the years before Van Halen got back together doing solo stuff. I guarantee would have done great in there.
I'm going to echo that because when the wife and I went to Chile last spring, not the spring that was 2 months ago, but the one that was a year and 2 months ago, and we saw Mr. Big and Sebastian Bach play. Mr. Big played Shy Boy as part of its set list, and it's not like the crowd went to sleep. So, and we saw that, and then the night before
Yeah.
that, we saw Mark Farner of Grand Funk Railroad play. Who would you say is a bigger star, Mark Farner or Diamond Dave?
Yeah. Right. I'm with you there.
Yeah, so I can't imagine he's going to do Australia on this run, but I would say some basic European thing, some basic Japan, and some more US and Canada. And it's just going to have to be the right offers as opposed to old school Dave would go, I want to go anywhere I can, anytime, etc. I don't think he's going to Thailand except just a vacation.
Mm,
So
yeah.
So we'll wait and see. You raise a really good point. These tour dates just go another 6 weeks. So we'll know very, very shortly how he's
And
feeling and if it's getting better, etc.
yeah, and we've talked about this before that there's plenty of places in the US alone that he could hit. So,
Yeah, he
I mean,
hasn't
what a
been by
third
you in Minnesota.
no, Chicago. I mean, a third of the dates are in California when all is said and done, right? Nearly a third. So, yeah.
Yeah. So fingers crossed on that. And I'm trying to be positive. I mean, my first show is a week from today in Atlantic City, and then 2 nights later in Huntington at the Paramount. I think
All
in
right.
Atlantic City, Matthew Speddings, who's been a loyal listener of the show, I think he will be there. And in on Long Island, we say on Long Island, not in Long Island.
Absolutely. You go into the city, you go out to and on Long Island.
I know Dave C from Dave and Dave Unchained. He'll be there at that gig.
Yeah, right on. That's good. Man, oh, I would kill to be there.
You'll watch it on YouTube. And
Well, I will tell you this. I mean, we are going to take lots of notes, my friend. You're going to have 3 dates under your belt. That'll probably be maybe the next time that we do another episode, unless something major breaking happens. And let's and yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to hearing your reports.
and Pennsylvania, the other one that we're going to in Bethlehem or whatever that town is considered in the Lehigh Valley, Bucks County area. There's a rumor the Mojo Dojo will be live and well.
You know,
Ramses will be there, and we'll see the legend. Rumor is he's in the front row. Hey,
that would be
uh,
so awesome. And I'm looking back at the schedule. You know what? We are gonna. I need a full report August 11th or 12th because I'm gonna be laid up for at least a week starting on August 18th. I love Van Halen so much. I'm doing like what Eddie and Dave did. I'm getting a hip replaced, and so
don't tell anyone, Steve. That's
don't
for old
tell.
people.
That's for old.
That's going to get you kicked off of the show because
Exactly. So okay. So once again, tell me the dates again. You're going to.
so August 8th.
You're going to Atlantic City. Okay, and you're going to the 10th. All right. So the 11th or 12th, not for everybody to see behind the curtain there, how you and I marshal our forces to put a schedule together here. But really, with 2 dates under your belt, I want to, especially I want to hear my old stomping ground, Long Island, man. Come on. I want to hear how those 2 dates go. Of course, we'll be texting, but I would love to do an episode and maybe we'll do it live.
They'll do a live. And the other show, the one that we're seeing at Wind Creek, it used to be called the Sands, Bethlehem. The night before, the wife and I are going to this drive-in movie theater that's nearby in Pennsylvania, where Tim Capello is doing a live performance. Offhand, in the recesses of your brain, do you know who Tim Capello is?
No. And I feel like I should.
The sexy sax man from the Lost Boys who played in Tina Turner's band.
Okay, I definitely
The
don't know.
shirtless, long-haired guy that sings "I Still Believe in the Lost Boys."
No, my goodness. I'm missing some sort of pop culture zeitgeist thing happening here. I don't know.
It's a Yeah, The Lost Boys is an acquired taste. It's got its cult.
I remember when that was big. It just never, there was just some movie. I mean, to this day, I have never seen and never had any interest in back then, nor have any interest in now to see Footloose.
Oh, I'm with you. But
And
is it
dude, but I mean, I, that was my era, man. I graduated high school in the mid 80s. So, I mean, come on. I didn't like what, just had no interest. It wasn't like I didn't go to movies then. It was just, yeah, I don't know. Just
isn't Robin Zander on that soundtrack, the Footloose soundtrack?
I should know that.
Is it the duet with Ann Wilson?
No, that is a Mel Gibson movie. Uh, I want. Oh, yeah, no, that's not. It's not Footloose. That was a few years. That was a few years. A couple years down the road.
So I know this is the DLR cast and not the Cheap Trick cast, but you are wearing a Cheap Trick shirt to pull the curtain back. Okay, so Cheap Trick has a lot of weird 80s soundtrack songs.
Dude, okay, they have been on more soundtracks during about a 10-year period than any band ever, I think, and most of the songs were original to the soundtracks.
Originals to the soundtracks, some of them written by people from outside the band. And my question is,
a couple of them, most of them weren't though, but yes, there's a couple.
Right. Up the Creek is an original, but you take a song like Mighty Wings from the Top Gun soundtrack. Here's a question I have. Did any member of Cheap Trick play on Mighty Wings except Robin Zander singing? Because that sounds like it's just him, and then they slap the name on it.
You know what's so funny about that is that there was a big debate on one of the Cheap Trick pages I follow, where somebody's like, I'm hoping someday they play Mighty Wings, and just people are like, they're never gonna play Mighty Wings. And some guy was like, it's like their third biggest song on Spotify. That's because it's on the Top Gun soundtrack.
Yeah.
But I didn't even need to weigh in and say what I'll tell you, but what this guy said, it's like, it's Harold Faltermeyer, the only people who played on it. Someone did try telling me that was Bunny on drums. That's a drum machine. But the only people who play it, Rick punched in a killer solo, and Robin's vocals are great. The rest of that is all Harold Faltermeyer. Yeah, Harold Faltermeyer production. It's all like, it's 80s. It's 80s pop.
Okay, thank you for confirming that. I was just listening to it and going, there's nothing Cheap Trick about the song except Robin being on there, which actually bring that back down to Dave. I'm curious if Dave was offered soundtrack stuff, because wouldn't you say Robin Zander was in a similar career path as Dave, and that there were both these guys that supposedly peaked in like 79, 80 as the pretty blonde guy, and then it waned a little bit, and they both tried to do solo albums that were less successful than their bands. No one talks about the Robin solo stuff.
Well, Robin's solo album came out in like 91, 92, and it was on Interscope, and it's a very, very fine record. It's a really good record. There's some, I mean, Maria McKee is on it. I think Mike Campbell from time. It's if you can find it, it's a super solid record. I want to say Mick Fleetwood is on it. It's a great record.
Wow.
But Robin did a few solo songs. If you can find it, it's god awful. But there's a song from some movie with is it called Send the Rain to Me? I used to know all this shit by heart, but with, of all people, a Jackson sister nobody knew existed named Rebby Jackson.
Oh, Centipede.
Yes, exactly.
Nice. That's the only thing I know about Rebby Jackson. Centipede. That's it.
But hey, I got to tell you, my Dave fantasy I had that just came out totally wrong. Okay, let me rewind and back up that.
Yeah.
I'm watching the amazing Black Sabbath tribute concert, which props to Tom Morello, who executive produced that, put all that together. That was fucking amazing. Every minute of it was incredible. And the fact that, how grateful are all of us, the fact that Ozzy lived long enough to make that, to live long enough to be there, let alone sing at it. But I'm watching this guy Youngblood do the performance of the fucking year on Black Sabbath's Changes. And I couldn't help but think, this is the most ridiculous fantasy, right? But how great would it have been? Because when I think of Changes, I think of that soul version that is the theme song to the animated show Big Mouth by Charles. Have you ever heard the soul version of Changes?
No, Charles Bradley did that?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
really?
yeah.
Huh.
Dude, it'll freaking light the hair out of the back of your neck. I mean, it's incredible. But
Wow.
and Youngblood's version, the whole stadium. Have you seen that on YouTube anywhere?
Yeah, I watched all those hours and
It
again
brought
and again and again.
brought the fucking house down. Now I'm a fan of that kid. I've been listening to, like, all of his stuff. That guy seriously got it. But I had this, like, kind of fantasy. This is thinking a couple of days after. I'm like, wow, wouldn't it have been cool? Could Dave do a soulful version of Changes if he was there with Wolfgang? That would
He,
have been that
if
would have
he,
been like amazing. In a million years, nobody would. I don't think anybody thought of that but me. But and in a million years, it would never would have happened. But that song to me, in fact, the funny thing is, shows. I mean, I was a late blooming. I was more of an Ozzy fan and a Dio fan, and like Dio, Black Sabbath. And
Mhm.
I later got turned on to a lot. I mean, I always knew Black Sabbath was, but there was
Yeah,
songs in my seminal years growing up where it just like kind of turned me off from the bands because I heard the radio hits for so long.
yeah,
I mean, I understand how great Led Zeppelin is, totally, but I never listened to a Led Zeppelin album in full till about 15 years ago. And then I'm like, okay, yeah.
interesting.
It's just the hits were so damn prevalent. I didn't, and Sabbath I kind of liked, but now I totally get their influence, right? And there's so much, and again, I really love Mob Rules and Heaven and Hell. And that's just my jam. And there's I mean, dig some of the stuff Iommi did with, I don't know, there was like about 25 other Black Sabbath singers through the
Yeah,
80s, right?
Glenn Hughes and
Yeah, yeah, and Ray Gillan and stuff like that. There's a lot, Seven Star, some of that stuff I really, really dig.
yeah,
So, but what I'm getting at is that I never recalled or heard or knew that Changes was a Black Sabbath song. I just was blown away 15 years ago or so, whatever it was, by that Charles Bradley version. Like, this was by who? Are you kidding me? So to me,
yeah.
it's a blues and a soul song. That's why my mind went to Dave thinking, wow, this could have been a Brought the House Down, you know, no need to say nothing. Thank you. Good night. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a
There,
crazy, dumb fantasy, but
Three connected thoughts. First, there is a Paltrocast Youngblood video interview taped
what?
early into the pandemic on YouTube. It's not recorded well. It's under 10 minutes long. He was a nice kid. I liked him a lot, and that's one of those. Darren spoke to him on the brink of superstardom, not after
His,
they were superstars, but on the
his
brink.
his music, especially this new album, is such a fusion of so many different things,
Yes.
man. I mean, just he's got it. If he keeps delivering albums like this one, whew, man. So
That is this current generation of people like him, Machine Gun Kelly, Mod Sun, Hardy, etc. You go, I don't know what genre you are. You're clearly successful in multiple genres. You don't know whether you're pop punk, hip hop, country, all the above. You don't know what you are, but good on you.
but
And
you know what's
glad.
cool? You know what's cool about that? I think that generation, my generation for sure, maybe different with yours because I'm a few years older than you, but you listen to the stuff you listen to. My
Yeah.
son listens to is everything. I
Yeah,
knew there was
everything.
some
Yeah.
rap songs I loved. Country I never gave a shit about. A lot the most 80s pop stuff was too synth heavy for me. There was a
Yeah.
few hits I like. I always like guitars, but now so many people are now gigantic melting pots, man, and that's showing up in the music that they're making. So it's just like,
Absolutely.
yeah, man, I love Van Halen, but hey, I also love Nas, and I also love this, this, and hell, so much country now is just like freaking rock nowadays. So much, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's
It's
just before I go into some kids today rant, but it's a good thing.
You're not wrong one bit. Entirely agree. And I could what you just said I could talk about for 20 minutes more. But going back to the Ozzy thing, not all the concert was perfect. I think Mickey Mouse's I'm sorry, Axl Rose's cameo performance. They have a similar thing going on to Dave on tour, where
Yeah,
the band behind Axl Rose is as strong as ever and fierce and awesome. And then you have a front man who is just not pulling his weight. But the online trolls are just brutal over the whole
Oh,
thing.
well, there was a
Yeah.
Dave video I saw where it was like somebody said a comment where it was like Dave and Axel should meet for coffee. That was basically it. You know?
Yeah.
Like, oh man, come on.
So that's my negative take on that part of it because it was a great concert, but it made me sad for a second when I realized. Now, tell me, common sense here, who sold more records, Van Halen or Black Sabbath?
Van Halen.
Yeah, multitudes more. Show
Yeah.
show me one Black Sabbath album that sold 5 million copies.
I
Show
mean,
me.
Black Sabbath did sell a lot of records, but they're revered now. But I mean, listen, there was a good period of time there where they couldn't get. I mean, after Ozzy left, Dio came and rescued that band for a bit. But more people know Ozzy's music, I think. I mean, Ozzy became a generational, cross-generational superstar,
Yes.
and in most of the time that Ozzy was a superstar from '81 on. Black Sabbath really only took off for a couple years thanks to Dio. The rest of the time, it was really on Ozzy's coattails for multiple
Yes.
reunions. And
Overseas.
that doesn't diminish Tony Iommi, his contribution, any of that stuff. No fucking way.
Not
I'm just saying that's the reality of the situation. I mean, people forget they had Ian Gillan singing lead on one album, on the Born Again album in 1984, 85 or whatever. So
they had him, they had Tony Martin, they had some
yeah.
fill-in stuff from Rob Halford, they had Glenn Hughes, and they fired him quickly due to whatever disagreements happening. I think the keyboard player briefly took over. They almost got David Coverdale. Like it was
You know who the drummer was on the Ian Gillan Purple Sabbath version there? You know who the drummer was on that tour? Maybe
was
that
that
album?
Cozy Powell or who?
No, it was Bev Bevan of ELO.
Yes, yes, yes.
We're digging
Bev
deep. This turns into deep trivia night.
Well, where I'm going with that, to tie it in with Dave, is I'm watching that concert of Ozzy because you're going a band with multi-generational appeal that modern artists would celebrate, classic rock artists who are still alive would celebrate, etc. And you go, that concert should have been Eddie Van Halen or Van Halen.
Mhm.
That the commercial success of Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne, while groundbreaking and hard to match, Van Halen supersedes that by a landslide. That concert could have been at Pasadena Stadium, the Rose Bowl, and then a pay-per-view. When would Tom Morello have music directed that concert? Sure. Nuno, who is on stage, could Nuno play those songs? Yes, he
Yes.
has. He does. Would the guy from Ghost sing those songs? Probably.
Sure.
Would Ron Wood come out for that? I don't know if him and Steven Tyler would do the Van Halen thing, but
I don't know if I'd want them to come out, but I was kind of surprised and thrilled to see him on the Sabbath thing.
most of those artists would have been able to do that or willing to do that.
Would what's her name from Hailstorm be able to come out and freaking rip a Van Halen song? Fuck
She
yeah.
was one of the highlights of that whole show.
Yeah.
He did Perry Mason, incredible stuff. And then you look at Dave Grohl, who wasn't there. Dave Grohl would do anything for Van Halen. Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons would probably do the Van Halen tribute so they could both say, look at who we discovered. That concert should have been Van Halen's concert. That's
right.
just where my mind goes. It would have been as successful, if not more successful. It would have sounded great. There would have been no shortage of material for them to do.
Yeah, I was just thinking of something else because I had this conversation with somebody recently, and I wish I can remember, but that's my ongoing dementia, I guess. I have conversations I know I have. I can't remember who I had them with.
Sure.
And I said, I said, name another, and this is something you and I talk about all the time, but I said, name another rock band that has done such a shit-tastically bad job of mining their legacy and and really bringing stuff to the fans. It's especially when it comes to the big six, the first Van Halen records, right? I mean, but Black Sabbath is another band where, Tony Iommi's been the steward of this, and there's been good reissues, and there's things constantly something they're giving these fans and newer fans who are discovering the band stuff, you know? I mean, my God, I mean, Stone Temple Pilots, who I love, when they put out this amazing freaking reissue box set of whatever of Purple with all the, I mean, not Purple, was it
Any music?
Tiny Music,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you see stuff like that happening over I mean, incredible box sets. This is not a new thing, man. But Van Halen's never been able to do it. Yeah, the reissued albums, what was it? A Balance that came out. That's
Yeah.
okay. But none of that has
Oh,
ever happened with any of the other albums. There's still never been a box set. There's never, and you're digging for crumbs and praying stuff ends up on YouTube.
so I heard something. This is
Oh,
on my list of stuff I was going to mention. I heard that Balance, even more bonus stuff was presented and turned away. So
God
meaning that
damn
is
it.
not the full thing that
Who's
was
turning it
offered.
away?
Yeah, that is not the complete thing. And then I also heard that the other Hagar reissues were put on hold. I don't know if this is more Alex tries to bleed Sammy Try, which can happen, but
Refresh my memories. What reissues are we waiting on?
5150.
5150. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I'm trying to think.
What was there an
Man,
OG1 too? I don't think there was.
God, people are like yelling at their freaking phones right now if they're listening, going, "Yes, there was, you guys." But I can't keep up with the Hagar stuff
There
all the
was a
time. Come
reissue,
on.
but no bonus tracks with
Right, right, right. Yeah,
that's where I'm going with that.
yeah.
So we got like the 91 stuff and we got the 95 stuff. And the 95 stuff, the balance didn't include the pay-per-view that they did or other soundboards. And then part of the controversy was somebody going, I don't think that these are from that show because that set list is not complete.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. I remember reading about that.
So when we look at echoing what you're saying, if you look at everything Kiss has put out for its longtime fans and continues to put out, AC/DC won't do a single interview for the most part and is private and claims not to have management and all that. They're giving you t-shirts through Old Navy all the time. They're popping up on soundtracks and commercials. They're doing it. Motley Crue has their shirts in Hot Topic and they're giving you stuff. They're doing it great.
I know what I was going to tell you.
Yeah.
I saw the movie F1 a couple weeks ago. Did you see it?
I know about it, but I haven't seen it.
With Brad Pitt. Fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what song was the opening song, but I remember thinking, going, God damn, there's 3 Van Halen songs that could just, and this movie, that was a big movie.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, action packed, the cars, the action, the beginning, everything. And it's just like, I'm just like, I can't remember what song it was, but right away I just thought, oh my God, Van Halen could be cleaning up here. There's easily 3 songs that would have, you know, that would have been perfect for the music bed in the montage and stuff like that. Are you kidding me? I mean, yeah.
Movies, movie thing. Did you see Happy Gilmore 2?
Have not.
I'm not spoiling.
Is it worth it?
I
I can't say I'm a huge Sandler fan. I mean, I think he's super talented. Actually, I like the grown up movie, the first grown up movie. That was great. But Happy Gilmore and some of those other ones that made me laugh, but I've only seen it once. To me, it wasn't a cult movie like, say, Tommy Boy, which I absolutely adore and seen like 33 times.
Yeah, Happy Gilmore 2, he gets an A++++ for the cameos.
Oh, okay.
And for the, just repeating jokes. You remember how Airplane 2 was just repeating the premises
Yeah.
of the joke? It's in 100%. They're just cutting to clips from the first one, or they're repeating the jokes as opposed to them being funny new jokes. So there's that. And then it's like it's a whatever kind of movie. But Michael Anthony's Hot Sauce gets a shout out on screen and verbally in Happy Gilmore 2.
How did that happen?
Well, somebody had told me that Team Sandler would go out of its way to put Van Halen in its movies. And that's why Tattoo is in Grown Ups. And I think they slotted it before they even heard the song. They just knew that there was this is somebody who knows stuff, told me the process of all that. They had to call this meeting and play Tattoo for them. Like, yeah, yeah, fine, okay, whatever. It'll be six
And
seconds in the background, that
you,
kind of a thing.
you
But
just you just reminded me that uh and I'm still shocked. I remember being shocked at the time, but in Grown Ups, the scene where they're all going down the water slide and they're in the at the water park, this is a sign of an excellent music director because the song in there is Cheap Trick's Just Got Back, which is the second song on their album produced by George Martin from
yeah,
1980, All Shook Up, which was the follow-up after Dream Police before Tom left. That I mean, it's Cheap Trick fans love the record, know the record, but it's it's not one of your first things. You got to know what you're going for there to find the song Just Got Back, right? And
yeah.
I was like, holy shit, these guys are good. And Tattoo, I mean, okay, I'm appreciating this now.
I heard Tattoo was a bargaining chip kind of placement for Happy Madison, Team Sandler, who are supposedly the best, most loyal people there are, to a
Yeah,
fault, giving the jobs to sons and daughters of prominent
yeah.
people. If you look in the credits, I was just like, oh, that guy's son too. Oh, that guy's daughter too. Oh my God, this is ridiculous here. Good for him keeping good graces, but the
Apparently,
Sandler,
the best movie set you could be on, the best gig you can have
yes,
is doing any of Sandler's movies because
yes,
you're gonna fuck off to Aruba for about 4 weeks to do a spy thing and just have a blast with some of the funniest goddamn people on the face of the earth. That to me
sure.
sounds like paradise, you know?
Just like Paradise, har har. But the wedding singer had that famous line with the Van Halen t-shirt.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So his team has put Van Halen in a lot of stuff. Apatow's team puts Van Halen in a lot of stuff too,
Mhm.
putting little guitars in This Is 40 and
It
Superbad had Panama.
it makes sense because Apatow and Sandler, Apatow especially, he was an 80s kid. You know, I mean, he was
Yeah,
working the comedy club with his mom in the mid 80s out in the Hamptons, wherever the hell he was. What do you think we were listening to out there, man? Fuck. I probably
yeah.
passed him on the Long Island Expressway a bunch of times listening to Van
Could be, could be.
Halen.
But where I'm going is this just goes back to the thing where Sandler's been part of a lot of rock tributes over the years. I remember when he covered Werewolves of London by Zevon for a
Right.
thing, and he covered, I forget what song he covered, which was a tribute to John Entwistle. I remember this Jewish folk album that he's on doing an old Yiddish song. Sandler would have gladly been at a Van Halen tribute concert.
Yes. Oh my God. He could have been the MC for fuck's sake.
Exactly. The way that Jason Momoa did the Osborne concert and
Right.
event and all that, you would have had Sandler. You could have had Jack Black the way that he did that, etc. There was so much talent that would have done this, even if Dave stayed at home for this whole thing. So there's my heartbreak in seeing that the Osbournes won. Van Halen lost in terms of the all-time greatest rock tribute ever. So
I'm
what have
not
we learned
disagreeing with you.
today?
So we learned that we could sidebar like a motherfucker on a show like this.
We can.
And we're
Harold
trying,
Faltmeyer.
we're trying to find the bright spots in Dave's solo tour.
Yeah, we will report on what we hear. But in the meantime, thankfully, we have those 1982 shows and the 78 shows, and
I'm gonna go back and listen to Drop Dead Legs from the first night in Paso Robles, that Marshall Rock video. God damn it, I thought they sounded good.
yeah, going in with that mind. Positive thing, I saw Wolfgang live for the first time 2 weeks ago.
Amazing, right?
It wasn't much to look at because he's playing in the daylight at an
Okay.
amphitheater, and to a 1/8 full amphitheater that would later fill up, but they sounded tight as tight can be.
Yeah. I saw him a couple years ago at First Avenue in Minneapolis, and at the moment that moment was the biggest headlining show he had done. Like 1,400 people enjoyed. Jam packed. You couldn't even move in there, and he was amazing. And he was so touched and so heartfelt at how much he mentioned, and just he's like, "You guys, I can't believe this." It's like he just and that band, whew, his drummer, he's
Yeah.
playing with great players.
Third solo album from him has been announced, so more music coming
Yeah.
soon. He's staying off the Van Halen train for the foreseeable future.
Good
But
for him. Thank you. Let it
but
be, man.
we have that. Hagar is continuing to threaten more solo shows, simultaneously threaten retirement and more shows. Michael Anthony still appears on social media. We still got him. Thankful for what we still got. And hopefully, when I see Dave in a week, there's a few less yows, and that'd sure make my night.
Yeah.
So, Steve,
I'm just looking at my show notes here and going, okay, where do we go with this?
while we do that, tell me who's on your side podcast, your other podcast, the other chick, your side piece.
Another cool rock podcast. This has been a lot of fun watching this grow a little bit. And I just had this great guy out of Chicago named Brian Durbin, who's he'll be the first to tell you he's a hair metal guy.
Mhm.
He's in a hair metal tribute band, but he does solo stuff. And the guy can shred, and he writes some killer songs. And the guy lives and breathes music every day of the week. And met and saw when I was down in Nashville a few months ago this amazing hard rock blues guitar singer named Lilani Kilgore. And she was killer. We've got an episode there, working on a couple other ones, hoping to land a couple bigger folks because got a growing little audience. And your words ring true when I started talking about doing this. You said, yeah, you shouldn't have any problem booking anybody. These guys are home all day. They're going to want to talk about their music. What else are they going to do? And God damn it, Darren, that's not too far off.
Yeah, if they weren't talking to you, they'd be talking to their therapist or their significant other or their cat or something like that. So
yeah, another cool rock podcast. It's been fun. And then I'm going to add a little thing there. I got something coming up where I'm going to have these segments called maybe just not filler for lack of better words, but should have been huge. Because there's just so many songs and bands where it's like, God, they should have been huge. And some of them are out on Spotify. Some labels do a better job of putting the stuff that ended up in the cutout bin back in the 80s and 90s. Fucking put it all out on put it all out to the digital folks. Other ones I'm going to have to scrape and find and pull off of YouTube. But there's so much good stuff out there, man, So
I'm looking forward to your Glenn Burtnick tributes.
Oh, dude, I want to talk to him. I love Glenn Burtnick. Don't even get me started with that. So should have been huge, but
should have been huge.
But he's had more than one album. Some of these folks just did one album. I mean, I've got my collections are littered with stuff where I can remember distinctly going, yeah, I remember everybody completely blew that off on that Sony conference call. That record and should have been huge. And I mean, you just kind of knew what was a priority, what wasn't a priority. When the sell sheet came through, it was like, oh yeah, 2 paragraphs, black and white. Well, yeah, okay. And then you flip the page over to some developing artist or a Warrant record or whatever. Go, oh yeah, 4-color glossy. I mean, a ton of merchandising materials made. Yeah, okay. We see where this is going. So
understood. I'm glad that is pushing forward. We'll put a link to that in the copy. We'll put a link to Brian Jordan's sequencing of the John 5 California sessions. And thanks to anyone who's still listening to this drivel. And we'll speak to you and hear from you soon. Right, Steve?
You got it, man. Looking forward to the next time we chat after your first Dave shows in many, many years.
Nothing but yeah. And give me a yow. No, I'm kidding.
No octaves here, man.
Look at all the people here tonight.